Welcome, and I hope you're having a fantastic day. We're going to talk a little bit about Bitcoin and BAKKT, B-A-K-K-T. Is Bitcoin and BAKKT too big to fail? So, to begin with, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This is my opinion. I'm not smarter than you. You are smarter than you realize. Do not trust what I say. Do your own research. Now, a lot of people are familiar with the BAKKT exchange, B-A-K-K-T. BAKKT is an exchange, a joint venture by ICE, the company that owns the New York Stock Exchange, Starbucks, and Microsoft. And each of these three companies brings something different to the table. ICE, because of its relationship with owning the New York Stock Exchange and 12 other exchanges, bring to the table the experience of building and owning and managing and dealing with a regulated exchange where assets are traded from one person to another person, one entity to another entity, or person to entity, entity to person. Starbucks is bringing to the table their retail organization and their understanding for building retail and consumer-based purchasing. And Microsoft, of course, is bringing to their table the experience that they have with software, creating software, writing software, their specialty in developing software. So the real question, though, is Bitcoin and the futures contracts created by the BAKKT exchange, the consortium of these three companies, is the combination of the two too big to fail? The reason why I want to bring this up is I kind of think that they are. I think that, the BAKKT exchange is going to go live September 23rd, 2019. And BAKKT has spent, Microsoft, ICE, and Starbucks, they've spent 4 years and almost $500 million, $500 million with a B, dollars building the BAKKT exchange. Now, they're not going to build the BAKKT exchange to trade futures contracts and fail. They're not going to invest hundreds of millions of dollars just so that it doesn't work. So the BAKKT exchange, Microsoft, and Starbucks are going to do everything in their power to make sure that this venture with the BAKKT exchange is successful. Now, what they're offering is the ability for an institution or large investors to go onto their platform and purchase either a 30-day or a one-day futures contract. And at the expiration of that contract, that person or entity would own whatever volume of Bitcoin they purchased with that contract. So they might be owning one Bitcoin, or they might be owning a large volume of Bitcoins, hundreds or thousands of Bitcoins. Now, why would anybody do that? Why would anybody buy a futures contract from the BAKKT exchange? The only real reason for doing that is because you expect Bitcoin to increase in price. In other words, ICE, Starbucks, and Microsoft have invested all of this money and all of this time, 4 years, building an exchange that they expect to go on for a long time into the future, and its basis for existence is to help large institutions purchase Bitcoin with the expectation that it's going to go increase in value. Because if it doesn't increase in value, then institutions and individual investors are not going to purchase those futures contracts. They're not going to have a lot of value on the market. And so the greater the expectation for an increase in value, the more likely the BAKKT exchange is going to succeed. Well, before we go too much further, let's take a look at the the ICE. ICE is the company that owns the New York Stock Exchange. Let's take a closer look at them and learn a little bit more about them. So this is from Wikipedia, and this is the Intercontinental Exchange, or as abbreviated, this is ICE. The Intercontinental Exchange is an American company that owns exchanges or financial commodity markets and operates 12 regulated exchanges and marketplaces. This includes ICE futures exchanges in the United States, Canada, and Europe, the LIF exchanges in Europe, the New York Stock Exchange, equity options exchanges, OTC energy, credit and equity markets, etc. ICE also owns and operates 6 central clearing houses, which includes ICE Clear US, ICE Clear Europe, ICE Clear Singapore, ICE Clear Credit, ICE Clear Netherlands, ICE Clear NGX. ICE has offices in Atlanta, New York, London, Chicago, Houston, Winnipeg, Amsterdam, Calgary, Washington, D.C., San Francisco, Tel Aviv, and Singapore. Now, as a company, ICE does a revenue of $6.28 billion in the year 2018. Their operating income was $2.58 billion. Their net income was $2 billion. So their income after expenses was $2 billion. We're talking about a very large organization with a total asset of $92.79 billion. Now, ICE is not going to get involved with this, along with Starbucks and Microsoft, unless they see a significant future in it, and unless they have an expectation that their $400 million investment in developing a Bitcoin futures contract exchange and custodyship service is going to work out for them. So my question to you is Bitcoin and the BAKKT exchange, BAKKT, too big to fail? I lean towards, as you could probably tell from my presentation, that I think they are too big to fail. I think that this combination of organizations, ICE, Starbucks, Microsoft, and other parties who are invested in the BAKKT exchange, just not a major partner, along with a host of institutions that are intending to invest in Bitcoin, that all of them as a group are fully expecting this to not only succeed wildly, but to also see the price of Bitcoin increase wildly. Well, as always, how can I be of service to you? If you like this video, I hope that you'll like, subscribe, and hodl. Thanks, and I hope you have a great day.